the believers. Not acceptable. Character is very, very important. Brothers and sisters, always have conscience. It will surely help us. With this, I would like to end my talk with the quotation of the glorious Quran, Surah Al-Qalam, chapter number 68, verse number 4. وَإِنَّكَ لَعَلَىٰ خُلُقٍ عَظِيمٍ, which means, so most certainly thou, Muhammad, are of most sublime and exalted character. وَآخِرُ دَعْوَانَا أَنِ الْحَمْدُ لِلَّهِ رَبِّ الْعَالَمِينَ.
Jazakallah Kaab for your talk heart-touching. May Allah grant you a reward enriching. Now I call upon Sister Adila Kotwala, our next speaker for the day. Sister Adila Kotwala is a 10-year-old talented Da'iya. She is well known for her eminent oratory skills and her sharp diction. Presently a student of class 5, she aims to take up Dawah as a mission. Her hobbies include reading, drawing and painting. The purpose of her life we dearly cherish, as aimless living leads to perish. Sister Adila Kotwala takes us on a journey of worship.
Alhamdulillah, wassalatu wassalam ala rasulillah, wa ala ali wa ashabi ajma'in. Amma ba'd, fa'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim, bismillahir rahmanir rahim. وما خلقت الجن والإنس إلا ليعبدون. رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي. Respected elders and my dear brothers and sisters, I welcome all of you with the Islamic greetings. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. May peace, mercy and blessings of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala be on all of you. As to what follows, Allah mentions the answer to the most fundamental question of human existence. And that is, why do we exist? What is the purpose of our life? Why does Allah create us and everything? Allah answers this fundamental question in the Quran when He says, وَمَا خَلَقْتُ الْجِنَّ وَالْإِنسَ إِلَّا لِيَعْبُدُونَ. I have only created jinn and man. There is no other reason for creating them except to worship me. There is no reason for creating them except to worship me. The sole reason for the creation of mankind, the only reason I exist and you exist, is to worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And the manifestation of this worship is the very kalima that we say, La ilaha illallah. There is no God, there is no deity worthy of worship other than Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. There is no objective divinity that I will show any worship to other than Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Very principle, the cornerstone, the building block, the fundamental pillar on which the entire message of Islam is based. No one is to be worshipped other than Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And in fact, that is why we've been created. And if you think about it, my dear brothers and sisters, you will find no goal which is more holy, more noble, more dignified, more sacred than the worship of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Nothing is more dignified than this concept. And if you ask this to the other people who do not believe in Islam, why do you exist? What is the purpose of your life? And you will find no answer which is more dignified and holy than the answer of Islam. I exist in order to worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That is why I've been created. And so today's talk entitled, A Journey of Worship. I want to ask a fundamental question on the concept of worship and then give an Islamic response to it. Now, why do you worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? What is the reason that we worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? How do you ensure that this worship does not become a monotonous set of routines? Now, if someone were to come up to you, an atheist, a Christian, a Hindu, a Buddhist, or even a non-practicing Muslim, and he asks, why do you worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? That's a question posed to you. Why do you stand up and pray? Why do you wake up for Fajr? Why do you fast in the month of Ramadan? What is the primary motivation for your worship to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? What answer would you give? Think about it. Perhaps some of you would say, I worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala because Allah created me and gave me life and health and wealth and family and status and so many other blessings. That is why I worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala as an exchange, as a return, as a token of gratitude that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created me. This is one response. Perhaps some of you would say, I worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala because I want Jannah. I want to enter the eternal garden of the hereafter. This is yet another response. Perhaps some of you would say, I worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala because I don't want Jahannam. I don't want the fire of hell. This is yet the third response. All these responses, while they are correct, at the same time, they are not correct. Yes, and I know what I am telling. If any one of you would respond in these three manners, you would not have done justice to the question. And the response back to you would be, these all are very selfish reasons. You are worshipping Allah because you want Jannah. You are worshipping Allah because you don't want Jahannam. You are worshipping Allah because He created you and gave you so many blessings, so you are giving Him thanks back. These responses might be partially right. I'm not telling these are wrong. These are partially right. But they don't strike to the core issue of why do we worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. A true Muslim who understands the Quran and understands Islam will answer to this question with a proper answer. And the proper answer to this question is, I worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is worthy of worship, because He is so magnificent, regardless of whether He created me or not, regardless of whether there is Jannah or Jahannam or not. He is worthy of worship. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the glorious Quran, وَلَهُ الْحَمْدُ فِي الْأُولَى وَالْآخِرَةِ. To Him belongs praise in the beginning and in the end. He is worthy of praise. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala also says in the glorious Quran, وَلَهُ الْحَمْدُ فِي السَّمَاوَاتِ وَفِي الْأَرْضِ. To Him belongs praise in the heavens and in the earth. Everywhere and every place and every time, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is worthy of worship. Independent of any other factor, whenever you are, wherever you are, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is worthy of worship. In one beautiful hadith, we learn that the angels constantly worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And from the seerah of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, that one night, Aisha radiallahu anha woke up in the middle of the night and looked around, and she couldn't see the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. She got worried, she got scared. What happened? She started moving her hand around until it reached inside her masjid. First, the masjid was connected to the house, and when her hand reached inside the masjid, she felt the foot of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam in sajda. When Aisha radiallahu anha was sleeping, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam is praying tahajjud, and she overheard the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam say something. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the single most blessed human being, the single greatest worshipper of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the single most magnificent creation of Allah, in sajda, in prostration, in the middle of the night, praying tahajjud in the masjid of Medina.
Peace TV presents 3-day International Islamic Conference. Peace, the solution for humanity. Organized by Dr. Zakir Naik.
My respected elders and my brothers and sisters, I welcome all of you with the Islamic greetings Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
In collaboration with Journey of Faith, with over 15 globally acclaimed and outstanding orators in English on Islam, converging at the Metro Toronto Convention Centre, Toronto, Canada, including Saeed Rage, Canada, Abdur Rahim Green, UK, Yasser Fazaga, USA, Farid Zakir Naik, India, Hussein Yi, Malaysia, Asim Al Hakim, Saudi Arabia, Ziaullah Khan, Canada, Yusuf Estes, USA, Abu Usama Al-Sahabi, UK, Dr. Abdullah Hakim Quake, South Africa, Yahya Ibrahim, Australia, Adhar Khan, India, Muhammad Al-Sharif, Canada, Dr. Zakir Naik, India, as well as Islamic Nasheed vocalist Ahmed Bukhatir, UAE, Abdullah Role, UK. The Jummah Salah will be led by Sheikh Adil Al-Qalbani, former Imam, Masjid-e-Haram, Makkah. Their task, expounding the correct understanding of Islam and clearing doubts about Islam, presenting effective solutions, has Islam for justice and peace for the entire humanity. Inshallah, this will be the largest Islamic conference ever organized in North America.
If you have any questions regarding Islam and comparative religion, if you have any query, if you have any misunderstanding, even if you do not agree with a single teaching of Islam, this is the opportunity to question.
Professional TV recording with 15 digital Betacam cameras, 3 Jimmy Jibs of 40 feet height and other state-of-the-art equipment. Peace, the solution for humanity. A 3-day international Islamic conference and exhibition. Inshallah, from 2nd July to 4th July 2010. Friday 11 a.m. to 11:30 p.m. Saturday and Sunday 9 a.m. to 11:30 p.m. People